It's like our country is being stolen away from us, you know. These are actually our islands, like our resorts. Me as a musician, like I've reached the glass ceiling, you know, there's no going up anymore. Now we cater to a really up-class tourism, which is just arrogant and ugly. 10, 15 years ago, it was like real people at resorts, like real couples that wanted to have fun, knew how to dance. A band gets paid $600 per night to do what? To go play damn boring background music, you know, for a bunch of people who don't even have the decency to look up from their phone, you know.
Long take. Okay, Zara, it's already working. Maybe first you can introduce yourself quickly.
Okay, my name is Zara Mujthaba, and I'm a singer and I'm a musician in the Maldives. I've been singing since I can remember, honestly. So it's all I've been doing, and I draw a little as well. And yeah.
And you are from this bigger collective of musicians. I think it's called Dinba Collective,
Family.
Dinba Family. Can you tell me a little bit about this collective and what it is about?
Actually, Dinba Family was created by my uncle-in-law, my youngest aunt's husband. So I actually grew up around them. And he's been extremely big on the scene because he's been such a significant member in kind of recruiting and identifying who the creative people are and picking out really young people and, you know, making them do new stuff, you know. So he's been a really significant member in doing like authentic Maldivian local stuff.
So yesterday we had a music gathering here at your hotel or guest house.
Yeah.
At your guest house. Is this something a usual thing that happens? I mean, how do you spend your days? What is your work?
No, we've been doing, because I come from a family and we love music so much. I grew up surrounded by music. Honestly, I'm very thankful, very fortunate to say that I've been very privileged, you know, among Maldivian people, because I grew up with the cream of the cream, you know. Like, honestly, any significant musician you could name, I've worked with them or I've had the chance of, you know, doing something with them. So, really thankful, honestly.
Is music, for example, on your side of the musical culture, is it also linked to politics in certain ways? Is there also like political groups in the Maldives that also support this kind of cultural creativity and diversity?
Well, honestly,
is it just a group of musicians, or does it have a political stance as well?
No, in general, as a collective group of people, all of us Maldivians, we've loved music for as far as I can remember. And it's only been recently that this so-called notion of music being haram has been introduced. How could music be haram? Music is all around us, you know, if you look closely, right?
Do we have two observers here on the side? One is in another interview that you can listen to as well.
And he's my cousin too.
That's the cousin. So we are here on an island, basically. We're on an island where a lot of musicians from Male city also left. Because of what?
Because it's unbearable. Because it's definitely not the place we grew up in. And seriously, it's really not the place we grew up in. It always used to be pretty congested and small, but it never used to be a city before. It's only recently that it's turned into a city. Now it's like Berlin or London or, where you go out and you know nobody, And but it's the funny thing is with Male is so small, So it's so small. It's less than 4 square kilometers.
Maybe you can tell a few words about this island where we sit at
This
now.
island is a very special one for us because, it's different because they've been exposed to foreigners for a really long time. Because back when WSO is the World Surfing League, you've heard about them, they used to be Australian surfing professionals before. And they hosted a series of qualifying trials and a lot of surfing events here for 10 consecutive years. So they had Australians coming here all the time, a lot of foreigners, a lot of movement back and forth, a lot of Maldivians working with them and all that. So this island hosted a lot of it. And so they saw a lot of movement of foreigners. So it kind of, it's very normalized that people wear shorts here, bikinis, and people just don't care. And it's very nice for us, because logistically it's just half an hour away from Male. So it's just, this is like a nice little hideaway for us, in the whole of the Maldives.
How is it as a woman to be a singer in the Maldives? I guess it has more obstacles than a man, or
honestly not. I'm opposed to that view. A lot of people say women are suppressed in the Maldives but I beg to differ. We are suppressed in a lot of ways too, but we also have a lot of power in other ways, Being a woman honestly gives me so much more advantage when we are looking for jobs, because if you're a woman, we're, people think of us as reliable, first of all. A Maldivian woman is definitely considered a reliable person. And since olden times, we've also been a matriarchal society. So we've been ruled by a lot of women. And I think women still are the driving force of the Maldives. We are the ones making the change. Of course, the men stand around, pretending they're the ones doing it. But, it's actually us. Nunta.
they agree.
They agree.
They have to now. Huh? So it's not a bigger issue for you as a woman?
No, for me it's been wonderful being a female singer. Honestly, it's given me so much more opportunities being a female singer in the Maldives. So much more. And it's also, we're a lot rarer than, male singers. So the demand is there, and yeah.
How did your career look like? When you were influenced by this family, sure, but how did you start singing? What were the first concerts?
Honestly, since I was in school, I've been singing. We used to have like national singing competitions here. So I got into it when I was really young. So this was basically the first, performance opportunities that we had. And starting from that, we've done so many different gigs, I can't even count anymore. And then I actually recorded two solo albums. I'm actually the only female artist in the Maldives to have any solo album. And I have two, which I recorded when I was 18, 19, really young, And so for me, it's interesting to listen to this music now because it seems very childish in a way. But it's also very authentic but old in a way. So when I first released these two albums, I was so young. I was 18, 19. And I got so much attention back then. People wanted me to go on TV, do like huge interviews about what music is and what, just like telling people how much I know about music. And I completely pushed it away because I was so young back then, and it didn't feel right for me to be on stage pretending to be this, just parading this fame around that I didn't feel right. So I actually took a step back. I kind of vanished from, I did my shows, I did my public appearances, but I never wanted to be on TV until Maldivian Idol. And by then, I'd had my second child. I'd already done like 2-3 years of teaching. And, I felt like I had something to offer and that I really had knowledge that people could learn from, which I didn't believe I had back then. So this was why I chose to go on TV, because I felt it was the right time. And yeah, that's how I suppose my career, Maldivian Idol completely changed. It just made things easier. Everybody knows who I am now. Anywhere I go, there's like a sense of familiarity. It's like, hey, and it's been really nice, It's brought about a really positive change to my career.
So where would you perform now when you go? Can you explain a bit? I mean, there's a lot of listeners that have no idea. They just know that there's some islands and some resorts. So it's basically you're performing at resorts mainly.
Actually, I don't do it anymore because for me, again, the music scene in the resorts, it's changed so much. Now we cater to really up-class tourism, which is just arrogant and ugly and nothing personal in it. There's no character in it. So us as performers, we want to be interacting with the people. We want to be socializing with the people. We don't want to be like, you know what I mean, right? So back when we were performing like maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was so nice, It was like real people at resorts, like real couples that wanted to have fun, knew how to dance, loved to socialize. It was good fun. But now it's this high-end 5-star Cheval Blanc, I don't know, Conrad, I don't know. And it's just bullshit, A band gets paid, sometimes band gets paid $600 per night. To do what? To go play damn boring background music, for a bunch of people who don't even appreciate your music, who don't even have the decency to look up from their phone, when we are performing. So it's really gotten really boring. Also, the managements have changed. Before, when we used to do gigs, it was always Maldivian managements. And Maldivians are very generous bunch, You never get invited somewhere and not given food. If somebody's having food, you're going to be offered food as well. And, whatever they're having, you're going to have as well, It's completely different from Europe. So...
sometimes we also offer
I know, but No, but you mean, like, for instance, lunch. Like, if I showed over to your house unannounced, like, it's so normal for Europeans, like, to just ask the guests to stay while they finish their lunch and come, because they didn't pre-plan for it. It's just the culture, right? But whereas here, even if we have had one bun to split among 20 people, we would still do it, the island style, So I think it's the same with the managements, because when we went to resorts with Maldivian managements, with Maldivian ownerships, they didn't give a damn about the amount of money they were spending on us, We'd get the guest we love, we'd get all the good food, alcohol if we wanted to. But they made sure that we were happy so that we would be entertaining their guests, But with the managements now, from the first moment onwards, they treat you like an employee, first of all. They give you a contract, they put you in staff accommodation, they make sure that meals are from this time to that time at the staff canteen, and you don't get no drinks, you can't even smoke at the place where you're playing, if you want to smoke a cigarette, you have to go to some other smoking. This is how ridiculous it is, you know. It's like our country is being stolen away from us, you know. These are actually our islands, like our resorts. And these people come and they just want to be treating, and usually it's like French managements or whatever, and we're just so fed up, you know. So people like me, musicians like me, we actually prefer not to go anymore. We still do gigs, but we choose to do maybe international gigs, maybe gigs organized by the government, like bigger ones, you know. If I do go for a gig now, I'll just choose a really, not even a high paying place, just because I want to keep my music flowing. So I would choose like a really normal resort where I can just go and have a good time and have maybe one gig once a week. That's it.
And why do you think this changed so much? Was this also like, why did the resorts change so much?
Because it's all about the money now. It's all about the money. It's all about like selling one villa for $6,000 a night. And, you know, with your own Mr. Friday and some butler and you name it, you know. I don't know. It's just really sad.
See you later. The guests are leaving.
But on the upper hand, we've got the local tourism booming, and it's brought about a nice change, you know. People get to interact with foreigners actually, and foreigners get to see the way that the actual way that we live, you know, not like a designated, purpose-built little island for like tourists, you know. That's not the way we live.
And for if we talk about musicians, the musicians that you know as well from your generation and maybe older and younger ones, how is their situation if you would try to put it together?
It's really sad because even for me as a musician, this is like I've reached the glass ceiling, you know. There's no going up anymore because there's just nothing anymore, no more opportunities. And the sad part is the Maldives, compared to what little population we have, we are such a creative bunch. You name it, we've got musicians, we've got artists, we've got writers, probably because we're so suppressed. I don't know, it's just the opportunities that we don't have, that's what makes me sad. And I think even for musicians, you work, but what are you going to do? Where's like the, what do you call job security? Anything to fall back on, like for all the musicians doing regular gigs, you know. Like you might be making $5,000, $6,000 a month, but what if you lose 3 gigs? Then what? You know, you directly lose your income. So there's like no job security, nothing of any sort. So, and this is what musicians do. But what about like creating your own content? What does it do? It doesn't necessarily do much, you know.
You spoke of anger. Is also depression a huge topic within the music scene?
Not within just the music scene. I think among Maldivians, anybody living in Male, for instance, we have such a huge housing problem, honestly. And for me, I don't know for sure, but I think this is the most basic thing that humans need: space, you know, space for yourself. And I told you back in 2011 when we did a calculation, when we divided how big Male is by the amount of people, like 1 square foot will have 8 people. If everybody go down on the street, how are we all going to survive, you know? So clearly this stems from the main problem is housing, you know. Nobody's ever taught how to deal with anything. Nobody's ever taught to deal with their emotions, how to handle anger, how to communicate. Nobody. So you have a bunch of people, adults growing up who have no idea of how to even run a household, how to be organized, with no discipline, basically. No discipline, no values. Because parents also had no choice, they had no space. Sometimes 6 people lived in one room, and the parents themselves had no space, even for themselves, you know. So I think this is why, this is the main reason. So unless and until we change this, there's not going to be much change, for sure.
is the whole climate issue something that is on your mind a lot?
No, honestly, not. I'm not one of those people who's like getting stressed out about things I can't control. And obviously we can do little things to bring a difference, and we are contributing in that sense. But anyhow, we've got the Dutch people trying to save us with floating cities, so it's all good.
Yeah, I read about that.
Well, a couple of our friends went to have a look. They're friends with the Dutch company guys, so they went to have a look at they've made 3 sample houses just behind an island here, and apparently it's really cool.
So you will float.
Yeah,
You
but
will
I think
float
it's
up.
mostly foreigners who are probably going to be buying these floating homes. I don't think Maldivians, too many Maldivians. For me, I would much rather prefer land. A lot of people now prefer to choose apartments, For me, that's like a slot of air. Why would you want to invest in a slot of air that's not even going to be,
Yeah. And after a while, when you see all these tourists and you know the situation here, is there something maybe in you personally or also with people that you know that there is also a certain anger towards the tourists, or that you think like, oh, these stupid Europeans? I don't know. Like, I can imagine that it
No,
also makes
we
something
we never
with you.
feel like that when we come here. But like I said, when we visited resorts like this with these arrogant managements, I've had huge falling out with them as well, because they've just been really horrible. It mistreated us, completely discriminated us in our own country, So, yeah, there's a certain amount of anger. Never towards the tourists, though. Always these experts who come and work here at top management level. And this we're talking about high-end kind of general managers, who have no idea about the real people, real little people. Also, it's just so boring. Like, I asked the tourists who come here, and the majority of the people, they actually prefer to come to a local island, because, I mean, you could go for maybe with your husband for 2 days, but a resort's got no personality, no culture, no tradition to show, so it's boring,
Yeah, it's boring. And if you want to go super high end, and you have your dream to have the bed next to the next to the Indian Ocean, in a way I can understand, that you want to have that once, but it's a bit scary that it is on the back of so many people that,
It's just, yeah, it's definitely not how it was anymore. Definitely not. Because resorts were actually fun too before. But not anymore. Now it's just money, 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 And it's just such a sterile environment where, you see, for instance, like the seaplane approaching the jetty, okay? And you see like a bunch of people with like a little parasol just on the jetty going like, until they come and land, and then everybody in line to shake their hands. And then again when they leave, like, how fake is that? I don't ever want to get that rich and have people like that just come and pretend I'm so important, No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's better maybe to have a small guest house and do some shows, make music.
Yes. I actually originally wanted to convert the downstairs part into to a studio. I wanted this to be a studio and a guest house, so that musicians could also choose like Thulusdhoo to come and record their album here, and we would have rooms obviously and a restaurant, something like that.
You spoke about glass ceilings for you in a career. Does it mean that you don't see a future for your career, or you start seeing it more as a hobby, a
No,
side thing?
I still do. But the thing is, I've got 3 kids, and the eldest is 10, and the middle is 5, and the youngest is 3. So it takes a lot of my time, So I do see a lot still in my careers, but I'm going to be able to focus on it maybe 5 years later. So it's just a little bit of on pause now.
So what do you hope in 10 years your life will look like and your family will look like?
We hope, that the Maldives changes for the better. More music, hopefully. I think it's coming back because we've had a little gap where music kind of died down, but it's coming back now.
Do you see also young artists coming up now?
Yes. Honestly, last night has been so much about that for me, I'm 33 years old. Most of the musicians last night, they were in their early 20s, and it was just so refreshing for me to see, and just talk to them because they're so smart and so creative. Yeah, and that's what I hope for the Maldives, that there's going to be more kids like them,
Yeah, they have also new possibilities through the internet,
Yes.
digital production, software. They are super informed as well.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, I think we can.
Good, no?
Yeah, we can stop here.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Long tail.